Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Running Your Stories. Today we have a fantastic guest coming in to talk about her career, which currently is at, I think she said, 43 marathons and ultra marathons run over the last 10 years or more. Very, very nice lady, very encouraging to other runners, exactly the kind of person we like to have on Running Your Stories, where we want to encourage other people to get into running and to try it out. So without further ado, let's introduce Lisa and let's get going. So I'm here with Lisa, and I thought it would be really good to talk to you because we met a few months ago, well 6 months ago now, I guess.
6 months ago,
yes.
Yeah.
And I should tell there's a little bit of story that you don't know,
Right.
in that our very first vague kind of meeting was when you sponsored me for the spine race, because I was raising money for Home Body Mountain Rescue Team, which is the local team in this area. And what I was trying to do there was everybody that sponsored me, I wanted to thank them personally. So when a name popped up of somebody I didn't know, I thought, who's this person? So the first thing I do when a name pops up that I don't know is just write their name into Facebook and see what pops up.
Right.
So you popped up in the spine race chat group, so okay. And I saw a picture of you, and I did the worst thing that you shouldn't do at that point in time. Saw a picture of you and saw that you were doing the spine challenge, and I thought, you gotta be joking, you're never gonna make this. And then I scrolled down your Facebook page and saw how many other ultras you've done, and within about 5 seconds I went from this person's crazy to this person's got far more chance of finishing than I have.
Oh no! So when you came out of the blue from nowhere.
Well, that was then when we actually got to the race. I was looking out for you then, just to say hello on the way. Although I might be on the way past.
I just couldn't believe when you just suddenly appeared. Hello, Lisa. Thanks for sponsoring. Off you went. I'm like.
Yeah, so I was in the MR challenge, so we'd started an hour later. And
yeah, I know, and you came whizzing past me.
And I went off way too fast and destroyed myself.
Oh, is that what you did?
Yes.
I thought, God, he's going strong.
I was going strong at that point, but it didn't last.
I think I must be going slower if he's an hour, because you set off an hour after us, didn't you?
Yeah. No,
I thought, but it gave me a right boost when I saw you. How does he know who I am?
Yeah, well, I looked up your race number so I could I could spot you.
That's funny.
I stalk people that sponsor me.
Well, I thought it was a good cause, so
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I think we did set about doing the race in a different style, in that I had this crazy idea that I might be able to go fast, which is something that so it's something you'll do naively when it's. It was my first proper ultra. I'd done the White Rose Ultra. Well, that's just 30 miles. So it's kind of, it's a marathon and a bit, though, isn't it? Compared to
still an ultra, though, isn't it?
It is,
and it's still hard graph wear.
But yeah, it's a hell of a step up from.
So did you start feeling it a bit after that then, when you set off?
Yeah, I probably got about 30 miles in before I started really feeling it. My IT band's tightened up. And by the time I got into Hebden, I was in a lot of pain. But the medics sorted me out there, actually. Sorted out the IT bands, and it was another 20 or 30 miles on that my ankles swelled up, and I was just in excruciating pain for the rest of the race. But I'd never done anything that long before, so yeah.
Oh, God. It's amazing you finished, isn't it?
Pain
threshold.
I was in a lot of pain before the end, and I just kind of forced myself to stumble across the line. And I was very destroyed.
Oh God! So how long did it take to recover? Quite a while then.
3 months, I would say. Yeah, lots of physio. But that's been really good because as I hoped to, I've come back stronger. I'm fitter now than I was then. And then I did the Oldham Way Ultra.
Right.
And that was my first test of, now you've got to go into an event and run it properly in a controlled manner.
Not just zooming off
because you feel good. And that's where I met Fiona Dyson that I mentioned
Right.
earlier, because I saw she was kind of at the front, not right at the very front, but near the front, and running at a very controlled pace. I thought, oh, this looks good. I'll run with this group and see how it goes. We ended up running almost the
All
whole
of it
thing
together.
together. 5 of us crossed the finish line together in second place.
Oh my God, well done.
So
you
yeah.
recovered well then.
yeah. So that was just fantastic, and that's the style I want to do ultras in from now on.
It's just steady, isn't it?
Yeah.
But saying that, second place isn't steady, is it?
No, I mean it was it wasn't a strong field. It's probably the only second place I'll ever get.
It isn't.
but yeah, no, it was.
I'm always a plodder at the back. I think
Yeah.
eventually gets there.
Yeah, well, that's so is sort of mentioned to you that what we're trying to do with this whole sort of podcast and things is get people on who do different styles of running. Fingers crossed, a friend of mine locally. I think he's somewhere under 17 Yorkshire 400 metre champion. Completely different style.
Completely different.
Hopefully he's coming on soon. And, very different styles. I had my friend on a little while ago who had just done his first half marathon.
So yeah,
which is quite a different kind of thing to talk about. Yeah. Because we're just trying to inspire people to get involved. Which is why
we say someone's mile is someone's marathon, isn't it?
Yes.
It's everyone's so different, and where
absolutely.
they are. And people just started, and some people have done it for years, haven't they?
Yes.
It's big. And there's the speedy runners and the slower runners, and it's yeah. But I am the one that plods.
But
eventually gets round.
Nothing wrong with that at all, because I just know, because after that race we sort of linked up on Facebook and things, and I just see all these pictures of all these happy people, and it's like, that's brilliant.
I did on that challenge. I smiled all the way.
Yeah.
I just obviously, because I'd recorded it all, so it were like all my memories coming back. It was just incredible, So.
Yeah. Whereas I tried to go too fast, I spent the second half of it just in pain. And
does that not put you off then, when you were in all that pain?
No, because I know that was my mistake.
Right.
And
so you push that aside now. And
I need to learn from it. That's the thing. Because actually, I had the chance to learn on earlier races when I got into a similar state, but probably only for the last half hour or so of the race, which is fine. If you want to get the best possible time, the last half hour of the race, you are going to be in a crazy state of pain. Or maybe even the last couple of hours, fair enough, but I hadn't really banked on being in that state for more like 18, 20 hours. Which is
that's amazing to carry on.
It's a different level.
Oh God. Yes. It was an incredible race. Loved it.
Yes. So when did you finish? Halfway through Monday, would it be?
What time did we finish? It took us 54 hours. We were just 6 hours under cut off. So we're in Monday afternoon.
Monday afternoon, I finished Monday morning, 6 or 7 o'clock Monday morning. But that storm,
the
was
storm.
Sunday night, it was horrendous, wasn't it?
When we set off, we honestly thought we were cheating because it was so
The weather-
lovely.
yeah,
the weather
the-
was so
the
lovely, and I
first-
thought, this is not fair. I've seen them all going up in the start and going over, and
all day Saturday, all day Sunday until Sunday night.
the weather was
The weather
glorious.
was absolutely amazing,
Perfect.
and the ground was the driest it had been all winter. Because
I've been training all the
I'd
way.
been training on
snow.
the route all through the winter, waiting for it to get cold enough to.
I
put
was
all
actually
your
wrapped
gear
up,
on.
ready for the snow as well when I set off. I had all
yeah.
my waterproofs on and everything.
Well, I didn't have waterproofs on, but I had too many layers on, considering how warm it was. Because we'd had that really nice cold weather just before it. But it was the driest the ground had been. Brilliant conditions under feet, and then that storm hit.
Oh, yeah. Because you do go up Pen again.
Yeah.
You go up to the top.
Yeah.
Because we got.
I was. It turns
The
out
weather
one
was
of
so
the last
bad.
ones that went over the top of there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and across the fell before that, Franklin's Fell. I hadn't put my goggles on early enough, and so I'd had the wind on the left side of my face.
I couldn't be bothered to get my goggles out of my bag.
Well, I was a bit like that, but
You made sure you did.
when I put my goggles on before going up Pen again, as soon as my eye warmed up, my left eye went blurry.
Right.
And I couldn't clear it. I was scooping basically lumps of snot out my eye. And so I ended up going over Pen again with, there was random ice patches all over. It was dark. It was kind of white out and snowing at the same time, which is unusual. And my left eye wasn't working. And I went over the top of them on my own at a very slow pace.
It's scary enough going up them rocks as it is.
Yeah.
So not night and in snow.
Yeah, I have to say, I called on all of my years of mountaineering experience to, because like when I got to the top, there's the stile at the top, and then you know there's a stone path. It's only 10, 12 metres away, but I couldn't see it at all. So I had to put my back against there and make sure I walked in a straight line in case I had to turn around and come back. Yeah. And I got to the point where I could no longer see the stile behind me, and I couldn't see the path ahead of me. And I had to take that, on a compass bear, and I know I'm going the right way. I know it's just ahead.
Confidence,
but you've got to just focus on staying in a straight line in case you have to turn around and head back to the stile, because at least you know where you are then. It was.
When I actually recorded that bit, it would actually hit it in the dark, and the weather was just the same as it was on the actual event, and I got to the stage where I thought, this is dangerous now, I'm on my own, I'm in a recce, and this is not a race and no one knows where I am. And eventually went back down, and I actually went to a farmer's house because I had no network to bring my husband or anything.
Yeah.
I knocked on farmer's door, and I just said, is there any way you could just ring my husband and let him know I'm safe? He says, I don't have any network. And I went, I need to let him know I'm safe, I'm missing my train, it's absolutely so bad is this weather, I'm going to just put my storm shelter up and let the night go. And he went, I'll ring him. So he went up to his loft, rang him, I just told him, your wife's safe, don't worry about her, she's going to put his tent up and see you in the morning. And then when he came down, he says, you can borrow my caravan. And I slept in his caravan that night. And then when I sat up next morning, it didn't look like the same place. I know. It's scary, isn't it, how it can...
It's great. I think
that's the beauty of it,
that's the attraction of the race.
But I had to then, on the wreck, I had to think of other people, thinking there'll be people calling Mountain Rescue out because they don't know where I am. And no network.
Out recceing, I'd started to bump into other people practicing, and people a lot more experienced who offered great advice and things. And then I got a call off one of them one night because he then knew I was in Mountain Rescue, saying, so there's this guy that I don't really know who's gone out on a recce, and I haven't heard from him. What do I need to do? And the only answer was you got to dial 999 and call Mountain Rescue out through official channels is the only answer. And I was just we were about to do that, and the guy phoned. And this was like 6 hours late or whatever from when he was supposed to have made contact. And it's because he decided he couldn't do it, and he was bugging out. But he hadn't used the earliest possible opportunity to let the one person who knew where he was know. So
it's scary because you look and there's no network, and you think, oh, what do I do?
Yeah, I know.
And it is, you're safe, but part of contact don't know.
No, that's right, as you say. And then because actually towards the back end of the race, on that the diversion
down
that horrible road, if I could have quit at that point, I would have done.
There was one of the men I was with, he was destroyed on that bit. He absolutely killed him.
Yeah, I was absolutely destroyed. But if I quit there, all I could do was basically call a mountain rescue team to come and pick me up. And I didn't want to put other people through that. So you
have that in your mind as well, don't you? That keeps you going. Thinking, I can't mess people at the house.
I don't, I'm in a really bad place here. I don't want to put somebody else in this bad place.
No.
Especially because I would never hear the end of it.
You're too close to the finish.
Well, yeah. But
I know it was. I can't believe that. Because I'd reckoned it before going up over the tops, and it was so much nicer there, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
It was just like crumbled brick, wasn't it?
Yeah, and big blocks and floods and side winds knocking you off your feet. And,
Must be mad. But we did it.
Yeah, I'll be doing it again this January.
I signed up as well.
Aren't
We're doing challenge.
Aren't you going long this time?
I've recce'd a lot of it so far. I'm doing alright.
Yeah. No, I want to go along, but I feel I've got to prove to myself that I can kind of do it properly, controlled, before
And then
I
when
go along.
you're happy with that.
Yeah. So I think I've got to go back and do the Challenger again first. Because otherwise it could be putting somebody else at risk, which I don't want to do.
I've just dreamt about this race for so long, the big one, and I've just
Yeah.
But I've got to train hard and recce every single bit. The only bit I'm not going to recce is the very end bit, because I want to leave that for me to.
Yeah, having dot watched everybody across the line, the very end bit, unless it's a few feet of snow like it was this year, it looks straightforward rather than the amount of snow.
I don't want to see that pub until the end of the race.
Yeah, because that was a funny thing when I went to do the recce right to the end for this year's race. A friend of mine had agreed to meet me there so I could leave my car there, and then he was going to drive me down to Valentine where I was starting that run from. And as I drove into the town, into Hardrow, I had tingles up my spine and stuff. Funny thing was, when I got there in the race, I was too destroyed to feel like that. So it's just, it was such a...
I just couldn't believe it came, that finish. It just...
Yeah, this just seemed to be forever away.
I know the bit when we dropped into Hawes, my husband were waiting and he took a picture and everyone said, God, you looked sad, Lisa. I said, sad? I was crying. I couldn't believe I got to Hawes. That's what...
I couldn't cry. I didn't have the energy to cry.
That's all I did was cry. I think I cried for about a week after.
Yeah.
I think it just got all
just going for little sort of recovery walks in days afterwards and kind of hobbling around the streets with a huge smile on my face thinking, I did it.
My first run, that's what I did. I think it was only about 2 or 3 days later, so I still had the adrenaline. Went with the dogs and I ran down one of my normal runs and I just pulled my hands out and just went, I did it. Yeah. Tears streaming down my face.
Yeah, it's a great race because it's such a big challenge.
Massive challenge.
Yeah, I mean, amazingly well done to Vuta who won it.
No.
I met him the night before at the youth hostel. Yeah, he was very focused. He wanted that. And I read his blog about it afterwards as well, his race report, and he's just focused from start to finish. Yeah.
Incredible to win it.
Yeah.
It's incredible to finish it.
It is, yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I blame it all on another MR guy whose name could pop back into my head at random at some point, but the year before I'd been on the Brunclough checkpoint.
Right,
the Throne Valley team handed out cups of tea to everybody that came by, and one of the guys he was doing the full challenge that year. He was back on the Challenger this year. In fact, I think he finished second on the MR guys, second or third, and he was just telling me how great it was and how you don't need to be a great runner. You just need
It's a lot of it's hiking and
exactly. And
endurance in it more than
and that captured my imagination.
Mountain rescue were amazing though, because I had all my flask in me thinking I'm going to make coffees, I'm going to do this, and then they kept popping up everywhere.
Yeah,
coffee.
Especially I don't know if you bumped into some people in a camper van at the side of one of the reservoirs. I went past there at 2 a.m. and there were mountain rescue people, but they didn't have any signs on or anything.
I can't remember.
It's only because they were like a friend of a friend that I kind of knew who they were. But yeah, they just had this camper van in the middle of nowhere, not an official checkpoint. They were just giving cups of tea to anybody that came by.
Incredible that.
It was just absolutely amazing.
And the thing is, they weren't moody or anything. It was that time of night. They were just full of smiles and admiration for us, and it was just...
Yeah, so partly for that reason, the next race I'm doing in a couple of weeks' time is the Wharfdale Three Peaks.
Right.
It's just, I think, 22 miles. But that's for Upper Wharfdale Fell Rescue Association, or whatever they call themselves. It's one of their fundraisers, but it's a little bit of payback, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tiny little bit. Because actually, a good friend of mine from Upper Wharfdale team was out supporting some other friends. But when I got in such a bad state, she kept popping up, checking that I was all right as well, which was fantastic.
It's who you meet along the way, isn't it? I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, well, there's a guy called Joe from Upper Wharfdale team I walked with a lot. Ran at times, and got to know each other on the race. We'd never met before the race.
Well, it's like me and Ben. It was first 5 miles, and we stayed together right to the end, and we just hit it off, and we kept each other going. I had bad patches, he had bad patches, and we're best of mates now. It's just
well, that's
far away from me, but we're
that's how Fiona and I have ended up from the Oldham Way Ultra. Did it in just over 8 hours, and I think was probably spent 7 hours and 40 minutes or something running together.
But it's the people have a lot to do with it, don't they?
They do. It's
you can't put into words, really, can you? What?
No, I mean, because after I got inspired to do it in like January 2017, that'll be when I got inspired. At that point, I was only running 10 miles. As far as I
remember reading your blog.
And so along the way, I worked my way up. You know, I did a half marathon, did the Homos Fell race, which destroyed me.
Fell race, madman.
Did my first marathon, then did my first ultra, and all along, as you go up the distance, I just found that the people you meet and the atmosphere just gets better and better.
Yeah. Oh, it gets better and better. Like you say, the further you go.
The further you go,
the friendlier it gets.
And the more people will sacrifice their own race to help out a fellow competitor and things like that. It's
just incredible.
It is. It really is. The ultra scene is just amazing.
It's the support that's around it as well. It's not just the runners, is it?
And I mean, I love all kinds of running. I still do park run fairly regularly.
Very quickly as well.
It's getting.
It's my hardest race now. I'm standing on the start line of a park and I'm thinking, got to run quick.
To be honest, it's one of the ones where I start to feel a little bit of pressure because I know people are going to look at my time.
They do. They're looking. It's that one that does ultra. She got to whip round here. What do you think? Oh.
No, but yeah, it's good for you doing the short distances.
It is. I do every week. I try to do a fast
it increases your VO2 max, which therefore means when you're doing the long distance stuff at a slower pace, you're straining your body a lot less because your body's capable of going faster, and so you can therefore extend it a lot more.
Yeah, once a week I do try and do a little fast one. Might not be fast compared to you, but it's fast for my other legs.
Well, yeah, but then you see, I know the guys that win, and the guy that Wayne and I mentioned earlier, Clark, he's about to do Western States, which is, the classic one, I guess. And his parkrun time's sub 18 minutes, and then because he works in up and running in Huddersfield, and so his boss James, who I don't think James does any races above 10k. But his parkrun time's like 16 minutes or something. It's like kind of like, and he said, I'm sure Clark should be able to run faster. And it's like, how fast do you need to go?
Oh no.
So my parkrun time's already faster than I ever thought I could get it to, but I'm nowhere near these other guys.
Just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. There's some really fast people around, and in fact, Hakan, the young guy I mentioned earlier as well, he's won Huddersfield Parkrun a few times as well. Yeah, these guys are fast.
One of my biggest inspirations, my best friend, he's just ridiculously fast. Yeah, he's even won a marathon.
Nice.
5-6 minute mile.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Can't do that downhill. Just 1 mile. No.
Yeah. But then, I guess we like the off-road. As soon as you go off-road, it's more enjoyable, it's less impact, but it's slower. Nobody runs off-road as fast as they run on.
There's a lot more to it as well, isn't there? With a lot of it's navigation as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
And it's not always about speed, is it? It's about using your brain a lot as well.
Yeah,
Working out how to cope when you're tired, and
it's fascinating doing something like the Spine Challenger. It's such a complicated thing, and then the Spine races are going to be even more complicated because you've got that drop bag, and you're going to hit the weight limit and the size limit.
I know.
Undoubtedly, and so then you've got to consider like cycling clothes a bit. Like, do you carry two waterproof jacket in your drop bag and one that you wear?
Two waterproofs. I've been told to get boots in as well as my trainers, so I've got a pair of boots. There's all these little bits trying to work out. 2 pairs of waterproof trousers, 2 this, 2 that. Yeah. Because when I got into Horton in Riddlesdale, I was soaked and I had no other clothes when I was a Challenger. That were it. That's all I had, and I was soaked. And I remember sitting in cafe like that, and he just put his sleeping bag round me, did the cafe on, and I was like, how am I going to do these 40 miles so wet and cold?
Great, because that's when I was having problems with my eye. He invited me into the kitchen to use the sink in the kitchen, so I didn't have to go down the street to the toilets.
When I'm there next week, and that's my part call to go and thank him.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible man.
Yeah.
You were there for 30 hours looking after his own.
Yeah, he was brilliant. Really was.
But his own, he didn't let me pull my own sleeping bag. He actually gave me his, keep me warm. And
I actually, underneath all my kit, I stayed dry on that.
Did you? Actually, when I got finished, I was dry, but I was cold. I think it's because it'd gone down my water. You know, when I'm coming down Fountains Fell, it fell so many times, it lived to its name. No, rain were going in, it were in my gloves, it were in my waterproofs, it was just, I was absolutely soaked. But I think it just dried out, it must have dried out.
Yeah.
I don't know, you still keep warm somehow, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah. All these memories.
It's good to hear, isn't it?
No, still can't believe it.
You mentioned to me before your big challenge for the year, getting up to your 50th.
Oh yeah. So I've got to try and do 50 marathons and 50 ultras by my 50th. So we've got Pisa marathon booked on my 50th, so that'd be my 50th on the actual day, and I've got to try and juggle as many as I can. I'm on my 43rd now, so I've got them all booked, and we've even got Snowdon 100 booked in September. I know. That's my big training run for time.
Yeah.
That's going to be.
I'm doing the Hardmoor 60.
Oh yeah, I've done the 30 and I've supported at the, is it the 60 or was it the 110? I can't remember, but it's...
Yeah, the 110 was that about 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's a couple of years, was it? A couple of years ago we supported stuff. We have a running group, call it the Dirty Dappers, Muddy Tracks, and it's a closed group on Facebook, and we all meet up and all wear purple and inspire each other. But yeah, we went to support them on that. But you see, this is lovely Hardmoors, aren't they? Have you done one? I
haven't done one yet. I've just heard so many good things about them, and I was thinking, if I wanted to get the very best performance on the Spine next year, I would have to do another 100-mile race this year. Mm. But what I'm trying to do is kind of come back up to that distance more gradually. So I'm going to do the Hardmoor 60 and then the White Rose 60. And I don't think I need to hit the 100 miles again before January.
No, because January will be 100 miles.
Yeah, exactly. And then next year I'll start
looking at 100.
Looking at going beyond that. If everything works out. But
that's so mad, isn't it? 100 miles.
I know. It really is, because I mean, you kind of vaguely hear about these things before you get involved with it.
You've just got to treat them though. They're like a training run, haven't you? That Snowdon to me is going to be a training run, and I'll just do what I can do. Yeah. And that's all I can do.
If you're going to do the Snowdon 100, you might as well do the Dragon's Back next year.
No.
That looks an amazing race.
It does look amazing. It does. Actually, I know a few people have done it.
One of the last events I did was the Lakeland 3-day. Have you done that one?
No.
Absolutely brilliant.
It's I've seen that.
Same organisers as the Dragon's Back.
Oh, is it?
And they are fantastic organisers. I can't speak highly enough of them. That Lakeland 3-day event. Absolutely brilliant event. I stuck at the Wainwright, which is the middle level.
Right.
I think.
When is that? It's summer.
May, first bank holiday in May.
All right.
So,
It's been and gone.
but yeah,
I remember, yeah,
but
I
it was
remember
25 Celsius all 3 days. It was roasting hot.
It's
In
just
the
too much,
lakes,
is it?
not a drop of rain for 3 days in the lakes
That's
on a
just-
bank holiday. It's
That's
unheard of.
impossible.
But
Like.
it was absolutely fantastic.
Oh.
Because I've walked and climbed in the lakes. I've never run in the lakes. But the 2 guys I went with have both done a lot of running in the lakes. So I thought actually going on an event like that where I can drop down to an easier level of run the next day, because there are 3 levels and you can do different levels each day, or you can stick at one level.
Right.
In the cafe route, as they call it, it's like a half marathon each day.
Right.
And the Wainwright, it's just short of a marathon on each of the first 2 days,
Right.
and like a half marathon on the 3rd day.
But it's over that terrain.
But it's
isn't
over
it?
that terrain, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, on the first 2 days of that, I did more ascent than the spine race. So those 3 days, that's the most ascent I've ever done in a short period of time.
You see, I thought the spine race was a lot. This Snowdon we're doing is, I think it's 27.
Yeah, soon will be a lot more. For the spine being 100 miles, it isn't actually a lot of ascent. It's quite.
It was very up and down, wasn't it? But a lot of it with the spine, I think, is it's the actual terrain.
Yeah,
what you're going through, the bogs and the,
Yes. Well, that's.
and all what
yeah.
goes with it. It's just not like easy little trail pass.
No,
is it?
it's not. It's. I think trail running, when you sort of read about it in America, and even in mainland Europe, trail running is very different to trail in the UK. Trail in the UK often slips into fell running. Like it's very, very technical. I think some trails in the UK would be at the top technical. Because I don't think that anybody's actually started trying to do technical grading of running yet, the way they do for climbing. You know,
We should do it.
because for outdoor climbing, you have there's a grading which is basically about the safety of the route, and the grading for the technicality of the route.
Right.
For like UK trad climbing. So you can have 2 routes that are the same technicality, but one will get a higher overall grade because it's less safe.
Right.
So you've got to be, it basically tells you.
Well, if they did that,
you've got to be
people
at a higher
apply, then
level.
they could see.
Yeah, you could see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always very, very subjective. 'Cause I know this from rock climbing. It's
Right.
one person's thing of this grade,
Right,
another
will be
person
someone
could see it
else's
2
different,
grades
yeah.
higher or 2 grades lower, simply because I've got like if
The
you
more
and I went
experience.
climbing together, I've got much longer reach.
Right,
I could reach a hole that is impossible for you to reach. Therefore, it's much harder for you to do. And so the person grading it, if they don't think about those kinds of details and they're tall,
They're going to say it's easy,
they're going
aren't
to say it's easy. Yeah, a shorter person could come, and that's the classic example. There's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, I haven't heard of grading of trails, and that, it would be an interesting thing to see because I do think that in the UK we run on some very technical terrain, fantastic trails, and
There's just so
loads
many
of choice.
different ones as well,
Yeah.
like different choices, but like here it's just perfect, like everything.
It's fantastic. I can run from my house, and I only have to run about 1/4 of a mile on tarmac, and I'm on the trails. And okay, those trails I end up running a lot because they lead me into the hills. And
Perfect, isn't it?
yeah,
I mean, we have
can
to
get
get the
onto the
car,
Pennine
but-
Way from my house running.
Oh, can you?
Yeah,
How amazing!
I mean
is that?
it's I'll be running if I do a loop where I just touch the Pennine Way and back. I'm talking about like a 30k loop, but I can do it. So
That's
if I go
alright,
upwards of 30k, I can actually
You're on it.
I can run from my door, or it's only a 10-minute drive for me. There's
Mine's about 20 minutes. We usually just
yeah.
pack
Well,
up
in
and
fact,
pile on.
yeah, I can get to junction 22 of the M62 in 10 minutes from my house.
That's alright,
That's where the
isn't it?
Pennine Way goes through. So yeah, I can get to that car park in 10 minutes, which is great.
It's alright.
Yeah.
It's spoiled really.
Yeah, but enjoy it. I mean, I've been away travelling with work lately, which is why we started talking about doing this. And it's
That's
taken a while to
because
get.
I went
to
on
get
holiday and then you've
yeah,
gone
then
away.
I was in Austin in the US for a week, and then I was in Penang in Malaysia for a week.
Oh my god, this is through work.
Yeah. And then the week after that, which was last week, I had to go down to Southampton, and so I ran in the New Forest last Friday morning.
So
I had a little run. It was kind of like the suburbs of Austin where I ran. I didn't have time to get on. There's apparently some great trails there, but it was more kind of suburbs of Austin, and then kind of along, basically on a path next to the beach in Penang. But that was really hot. Even like 6:30 in the morning. It was, and Austin was really hot as well. And then, like I say, the New Forest last week. But then you come back here and you think, actually, it's
we still got it all here.
It's so good around here.
Because when we were in Greece, every morning I went out and it was just so humid.
Yes.
And we're all mountains, and I just love going up and just exploring and stuff. But yeah, you're right, it's still amazing here, even when you've been away.
Yeah, it's like from time to time you get a little bit bored with doing the same routes or whatever, because they're the convenient ones. But
they're still training, isn't it? But it's like when I've been recceing for the spine, and I keep doing it, but it's just amazing, just doing a little section I've not done before.
Yes.
Just exploring and a bit of an adventure.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that it's like a long straight line. It's not a loop. That's why I want to do the Hardmore 60 as well, because that's also
it's a straight line.
A straight line, not a loop.
The only problem is when you recce it on your own.
Yes.
I've always got to, and doubling back to me is a great way of recceing, because if you've gone wrong, you find out where you've gone wrong.
Yeah.
And I always do short ones, so like last week, and I did 10 and 10 back. And you notice where you've gone wrong, you see things differently. And
yeah, I was very lucky that I got my wife to drop me off and pick me up on a lot of my recce's. She kept abandoning me in Edale. So from Edale, I can pretty much just run home, but she can then just come and pick me up in Meltham or something. And it's
Newby's good for that.
Yeah. And then, like I said, the last section, it was one of my friends from Mountain Rescue. We drove for 4 hours just to meet me in Hardrow and drive me to Malham Tarn. And then drove home. So he had 4 hours of driving just to get me to the start of my last recce. It was just amazing. It's finding people that are willing to do that.
People think you're amazing what you're doing out there, and they like to support you and help you and be part of it.
Yeah, it's great getting that kind of support.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And, there are people that make what we've done pale into insignificance.
I know.
There's somebody going for doing about 400 miles or something, or 500 miles. Gwyn. He's starting in Edale, and I think he's doing most of the Pennine Way, then on to the Highland Way, and stringing it all together into one long.
It's just mad, isn't it?
I said I'd go and run the first section with him as he comes past here.
I'll do a little recce with you. Oh God!
Go and run with him for a bit. Carry your stuff for him.
That's the other thing, carrying all your stuff as well.
Yeah, and again, that's why, because you hear about the times that people are putting in on like the 100-mile races in America.
But they're not carrying
but
packs.
They're not carrying anything.
But the weight on the packs.
Yeah. Well, the most they're carrying is their own water in like one spare jacket. Whereas on the spine, we're carrying full camping kit and When they check market on the spine, it says you do know this is a race, don't you? Because I put more in it than what they asked. And I said, brought me coffee sachets and I brought me storm shelter, and they're like, you don't need to take all this. And I'm like, my safety, it's my safety. But he actually had a bet, did that man, thinking that I wouldn't finish it. He'd bet £50. When I came across the finish line, he just went, "You just lost me £50." Good. Well done. Good on you. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. Well, that's
proving people wrong.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I've had this conversation with a few people. I think as long as you're confident that you can do something within the cut-off time, you should go for it. Sometimes.
What happens?
Sometimes you need to be pushing against the cut-off a bit. That's all right.
But you can't think, I'm not going to be able to do it. You've just got to focus and think, yes, I can do it. And if something happens,
you just break it down into what you need to do at any one time.
It's like the Challenger. Mine were all my recce's. It would finish one recce, go into another. It wasn't thinking of the finish.
No.
Never thought about the finish. until we got into to the cafe at Art and Ribbles. That's the first time I actually mentioned the finish. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to break it down. Any race, even a 5K, you've got to break it down, haven't you, and keep pushing.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I'm enjoying still at the moment, is that it's less than 2 years since I was doing like a 5K park run and being convinced that I had to slow down on the second lap because I couldn't take it. And I can still remember what that feels like. But it's I think it's important to try and remember what these things feel like, because when somebody else comes along and you're trying to encourage them, and you know, it's important to remember how it felt when you were there. It's too easy to say, that's easy, you can do that.
But it isn't easy.
But it isn't easy. No, not when you're there, and that's where you're at. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is. When they've not run before and they've just started running, it's so hard, isn't it, just to get you from a lamppost, isn't it? It's incredible, really, isn't it? How far you can push your body over time. And
yeah. So what's your favourite race that you've done so far?
it is the Challenger.
Yeah.
It used to be the Ring of Fire. I've had a big challenge with that one. That's running around the whole of Anglesey over 3 days. And the first time I did it, we did it in a group and we finished it. I couldn't believe that I'd finished it. But I've tried second and third time. Second time, my friend got really poorly and we stayed with her, and we got to these stepping stones and the tide had come in and it got dangerous and we missed the cut-off. And the third time I was poorly when I set off and I couldn't make it. So I had a bit of a mission with that. But that used to be my favourite race until Challenger.
Yeah.
But I think the Challenger it's a lot to do with, it took me all year to train for it as well, and what went with it, of the Pennine Way now, I just love it to bits. How 1 minute it can be the most scariest place, the next minute the most beautifulest place. It's just there's something about it that draws me to it now. I know. And then you can go over a hill and there's a little hidden gem, isn't there? Like there'll be a reservoir with a lovely bridge, and
I know exactly where
and
you're
then next thing you come and it's black, bland with all the moors and nothing there. And you're like blizzard and it's just something about it. And there's only like you will understand that goes on it. It's a lot of people
it's fantastic. As you say, it's so varied, and it's, for me, it's kind of just the whole complexity of the challenge. I think if it was a supported race where you didn't have to carry very much and there's people there with you all the time and pacers and all that, it wouldn't be anywhere near the same race. It's this.
When they said they weren't going to let us have supporters, I was quite upset with it, thinking that's dangerous and all that. But to be honest, I think it was the safest race I've been on. Knowing that I've got that little button if I needed someone, and I never once thought I wasn't safe.
No, that's that. Yeah,
and
that's right.
Even with not having support, and in a way I was more proud that I didn't have support.
Yes, yeah, as I say,
because like you say, you've actually done it yourself.
I've talked to people that had done it in the previous years where they'd had like a crew along and they'd had a camper van to sleep in.
And they'd be able to go and have a sleep in the car.
Yeah, and they're saying, well, there is a downside to that, because like you turn up at the camper van where your mates are, and there's like 3 of them there, and they've got all this food ready for you, and you kind of feel like just continuing, but because they've gone to all that trouble, you feel obliged to stop, and so it's not all
always as good. No, and you've got the other chance that you don't want to start again.
Yes, yeah.
We've got that comfort of your friends, and I don't know. But yeah, I honestly thought it's going to be this is wrong not having support, but no, I think that was a good move.
Yeah, I think hopefully sort of this coming January people will be a bit clearer about what isn't allowed. I know there was massive discussions, wasn't there, on the group about it, and in the end I think it became very clear. You know, people are allowed to come along and they can give you a piece of cake, as long as they're giving pieces of cake to everybody that comes by at that time. That's absolutely fine, and they shouldn't be scheduling it just to see you. No harm with anybody coming along supporting. like I said, we're saying, some friends, some people that I know were along to cheer on some other people, and when I was struggling, they then came, walked with me a little bit, offered a bit of moral support, and that's within the rules. That's fine. In fact, they met me at the cafe in Horton, because that's when I was already going really slow, and I just made sure of like I paid for my food. I didn't let them pay.
Yeah,
just on principle, just to make sure there was no doubt that, you know.
I know, because my hubby were at the one at Saddleworth where there was the cafe there, and he was waiting there, and he could see my head torch. My head torch it was the battery. It wasn't the battery. It was just very dull, and he had the other head torch on him, and I went, I can't take it from you. But he was supporting everyone, and I never took anything from him. But he'd said, take this head. I said, no, I'm going to have to cope with this. This is the one I've taken, and this is the one I'm going to have to cope with. And when we went up Malin, I couldn't say anything like that.
Yeah. But there were other people that didn't follow it quite so strictly. I know. I noticed a couple. Yeah. I mean, I'd missed a couple of diversions because I'd recce'd the route.
Oh, I know where they did diversions. I'm thinking, I reckoned all that, and now we get a diversion.
But then the diversions, some of the early ones weren't signed on the ground, so you just follow the route you know that you've reckoned, and then you walk past it. You realise sometime later you're past the diversion. What are you going to do?
There was a big one going into Gargrave, wasn't there? And I'd recce that on my own with my compass map, no GPS. I'd done it all on my own. I remember saying to Ben, "This is the bit that I did all on my own without anything," and the diversion.
That was a little bit frustrating, I guess.
But they can understand, I suppose, if ground's soddened and a lot of it was.
Would have just been nice to have had all of the diversions having a sign. Because you're not looking for a diversion.
No, you're not. No.
You're looking for the route.
The route that you've worked hard on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess it only matters if you're going to win.
Only matters if you're going to win. Well, it's right though, isn't it?
You know, if somebody's finishing 30th or 31st, it doesn't matter, does it?
No.
If someone's finishing first or second, it does matter if you've missed a diversion or something.
Well, part of the experience, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, God. So I'll be on Pennine Way again next weekend.
Yeah.
For a little bit. Then old memories will come back.
Which bit are you doing next weekend?
We're doing the Pennine Barrier.
Oh yeah,
with
of course.
The GB Ultras, which is a couple of friends that run this these races, GB Ultras, and it's going to go from Malham over Fountains Fell and then over Three Peaks and back again.
Do you know Kim Kennedy?
You know, I'll know faces and it's names.
Tall, skinny, blonde.
I don't know.
Because she's doing that.
Oh, is she?
She'll probably be first female. First or second female. She got second female in the Liverpool to Manchester double ultra.
All right,
the 100 miler. She got second female on that.
I did the it was Chester that I swept on. Yeah, I do help out a bit with them and the good races.
Yeah. I've been looking at it. It's kind of overwhelming actually. There's so many good races, and I was just so focused on the spine that I just did a kind of minimum number of races to try and get ready for it. Then having recovered from it, I kind of look and think, I can do that race, I can do that race, but I can't do them all. When,
it's hard, isn't it? It's money as well, isn't it? When you're putting your name down for all these events, it all adds up as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'm going out to the Alps as well in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going out climbing is the idea, but I say how my friends get on. If we're not getting climbing stuff done, I'll just go running.
Doing a bit of running. It must be hard, this climbing. When we did the recce for Snowdon, we had to climb a little bit over Tufan, is it Tufan?
Yeah, Tufan. Yeah.
And I'm going up on this rock and I'm thinking, I can't, I'm not too small to get in. My friend, she used to be a rock climber, and she just says to me, Lisa, just push, you can do it. And I did it, and I'm like, oh, I did it! But it's a bit scary, isn't it, when you got the drops and...
Yeah, it can be.
I was a bit scared going up there.
Yeah, we'll probably end up on this one of the scariest ridges that in the Chamonix. There's the Argyll de Midi lift station. It's like 3,850 meters, and to come out of the lift station onto the mountains, you come out on a little snow ridge.
Right.
It's about a foot wide in places, and you've got a 2,000 meter drop down into the valley down one side of it, and a couple of 100 meters drop down the other side of it, and people coming the other way.
So how do you get past them?
Carefully.
Oh God! I'll crawl. You climb over.
Yeah, that's scary. The very first time I did it in the dark, and it was fine because I couldn't see anything. So right in the dark, you can't see the drops. Just got your head torch, so you can see where your feet are going. It's like, oh, this is great. Because it's snow as well, so it's nice and frozen in the night. You come back up in the middle of the day, you can see the drops, and you're going uphill, and the snow is melting.
That makes it worth seeing them.
Yeah, much worse.
Because they're going to take me on another recce at Snowdon. One in July, and there's one in August. In August, and then the next day we're going to go up Cribgoch.
Yeah.
And that's the same until it's just.
It's not that. It's not that sharp a ridge.
It looks from photos. It looks absolutely terrifying.
There's only a few very short sections where you're really up on the ridge. I think a lot of the time there's a path on the side, if I remember rightly.
Oh, it put me at ease a bit.
Yeah, it's alright. Good thing with rocks and stuff though is that mostly they don't move, so you can just hold on to them if you need to take a moment. But when you're on the snow late in the day in the Alps and the snow's melting, you can't stop on it as much as you can help it because it can give way. I have gone once, not on a ridge like that. It was coming down off a mountain. There was the snow was very soft. And there was people going up. I'm not sure why they were going up at that time of the day. And we were coming down, and I think that's your phone. Yeah. And I stepped to the side to let them past, and it just gave way under my feet. So I was going head first on my back down the side of the mountain. Oh God. That's why I have an ice axe to do a self-arrest, and I was on a rope. My mate caught me on the rope as well. And we bumped into people like an hour later who'd seen it through binoculars, and they said, "Wow, you did everything right." I was like, "Great! I'd only read about that in a book before."
Oh my God.
That's when I was young and crazy.
Oh no. Madman.
Yeah, I have to be a lot more careful these days. So I kind of think that with being in mountain rescue, you kind of have to set a bit more of an example of trying to do things right and be a bit more practiced with things. And
God, that was scary though, wasn't it?
It was alright as soon as it was. I didn't have time to be scared.
It just happened.
It happened, and all my thoughts were just about how to sort of recover from the situation. And once I was recovered, I knew I was fine. Yeah, I think I tend to get more scared of what might happen than what's actually happening. When stuff's happening, I'm okay. It's when you think, oh, this might happen, that might happen. But that's why I prefer the running, because you can just stop and plant your feet on the ground and you're okay. Whereas climbing, you don't always have that option.
I know. So you could be stuck, couldn't you? And...
Yeah. Try not to be. Yeah. But yeah, it's great. Running up mountains instead of walking and climbing slowly.
Can't beat it, can you?
No, it's fantastic. Because with that 3 days we did in the lakes, friend Jim, who I trust to have counted this up properly, apparently we went over the top of 28. 28 I don't know if they were all Wainwrights, but 28 peaks in the lakes over 3 days. If you were walking, and if you got 10 in 3 days, you'd be over the moon.
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
And we were doing nearly 10 a day. It's just absolutely fantastic. There's so much of the Lake District. And
you wouldn't be able to do it any other way, would you?
No, it's absolutely amazing. It's great.
Just what we can do nowadays, and these events, and they're getting bigger and better, aren't they?
Yeah. So
It's a bit part
yeah,
of it.
that reminds me. So you mentioned that your hero is Ronald Fiennes.
Oh yes.
Who's also mine. I have also shaken his hand and
Yes,
got a
you
book
did.
signed and that kind of thing. So when are we doing an ultra in Antarctica?
When are we doing an ultra in Antarctica?
Yes. That's what we need to plan, isn't it? Yeah, I've been telling my wife for the whole time that we've been married that if I get to 50 and I haven't been to Antarctica yet, that's what I'm doing.
You're going to arrange an ultra.
Well, I'm
gonna do
always
one
saying I
anyway.
was going to go to Antarctica. Now I'm thinking it needs to be an ultra in Antarctica. There is.
Is the one I'm going to say is the one?
I think there's two. They're very expensive.
This is the only problem, isn't it? It's the cost of
It's the cost.
getting to...
Yeah, I'll just sell the house.
Just sell out.
Kids don't need to go to university or anything like that. But yeah, I think that's...
That would just be a proper dream, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of the most famous ultras, they're all in deserts and things. I can't
You see
cope with the
MDS
heat.
and that doesn't interest me.
It interests me back.
It's amazing what people do in it, and I think they're
don't
absolutely
think
incredible to do
I
it.
can
but
cope with
no.
that heat.
The heat.
Yeah.
The heat.
So
I've seen so much sand.
yeah. So
No,
yeah.
it has to be cooler.
Yeah. I wonder if there's anything in the Arctic, not necessarily right up to the North Pole, but like in north of Norway or somewhere like that, you'd be in the Arctic. We could do one in the Arctic and one in the Antarctic in the same year.
You're turning out like you're on fan.
So it's always been my dream to go to Antarctica.
It's amazing.
Which is why I've followed all of his adventures.
Oh, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
He came in, we were running New York Marathon, and he came in with me and my brother were really struggling. I'd got an IT issue, and he was holding his chest, actually. He could have been having a heart attack, but I kept pushing him. He had a blister on his lung, that's what it was that he got. But anyway, I kept pushing him. Should have pulled him out. And anyway, we're coming to the finish. We're in, what's the park called in New York? I can't think of it.
Yes.
Central Park.
Central Park.
That's it, Central Park. And we're coming in, and there were all these cheers, and I'm thinking, who's behind? Someone famous behind. And I looked round, and it were Randolph Fiennes, and he'd done his 7 marathons, 7 continents, and I said, we're going to have to hurry up. We can't let him beat us. And we got across the line just before him. And it was his last one of his 7.
I hope you photobombed him.
I don't think we had phones. That's many years ago. I don't think we had our phones on us or anything.
I was just thinking about like when the TV cameras are on, just pop up behind him. Yeah.
Oh, see what you mean, pop behind him.
Yeah.
I know. He had his all his kit because he'd just had open heart surgery or something, and had all that behind him. And just incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing man.
Yeah, but it's the same kind of principle of achieving things more through stubbornness than necessarily ability. I mean, he obviously does have ability as well, but
He had a lot of knowledge as well into his stuff.
I think that's why a lot of people come into ultras later in life as well, because it is such a complex thing. You need experience.
The experience and I think that's the next step on into a lot of people. They've done the marathons and went to the ultras and mountains. And
I only did one marathon and did an ultra 4 weeks later.
How I used to do it. I used to train for 1 marathon in a year and just do 1 marathon in a year.
Right.
That's how I used to do it when I first
That's
started.
what I expected.
I know when I did my marathon, I stopped running.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do. And then think, I've got another marathon, I'll start training again.
Yeah. And then after I'd done my 2 intercontinental trips with work, I got back from Malaysia on the Saturday morning. I ran the Huddersfield Marathon Sunday morning. Not fast, but
You did it.
But yeah, I just kind of to try and kickstart my training again because I'd had 2 weeks of hardly running. It was kind of thinking, well, it's kind of like 2 weeks of tapering, so I'll just go and do something. I was just exhausted, just not legs tired, but just
worn out anyway
totally
from
worn
all
out. Yeah,
jet lag and
crossed the line and just it was a nice day. I lay on the grass for a while.
the marathons are a long way.
Yeah, especially on road. That was the only problem with it really. Was on road and it was really hot.
Heat again. See,
Yeah.
need the snow and the cold.
Yeah, colder it is, the better for me.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, adjusting to that heat. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to make a kind of traditional way to wrap these things up is to talk about kind of inspiring people. I think the last time I ended up then talking about sort of parkrun at the end, but I think it's I'd mentioned to you as well about Corey Reese, this American guy. He's the person that invented the idea of taking a jumping picture in the middle of a race.
All right, that everyone does.
That everyone does that. He's the guy that started that.
Right.
And I would really recommend his book, Nowhere Near First. Fantastic book. Because the guy's absolutely insane. He ran a 100-miler every month for a year, a few years back. But he's not fast at all. It's just, but it comes across from his book, and I'd heard a podcast with him, like an interview with him, which is what got me looking. I listened to that Training for Ultra American podcast. He was on that, which I don't know if you've listened to that at all. That's quite good. Generally speaking, it's all really top ultra runners that are getting interviewed on there, which there's some good ideas, but we're trying to get a bit more down to earth.
Normal people.
Exactly, yeah, normal people. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's what we could finish off with is, what would you say to a normal person that's thinking of doing their first ultra or even their first marathon, I guess?
If it was an ultra, I mean, I had so many people mention it and say, how can you do it? How can you run for so long? How can you do it? And I'll just basically say it's easier than a marathon.
Yeah.
And it isn't in a way, but it is, because you get your stops, you get your checkpoints, you get your food, you get your cake, and you get a chance to walk little bits, and it's a lot friendlier. That's how I usually tell people, and I honestly think the ultras, you can't beat them. For the friendliness and yeah, it is hard, but it's not as hard as a marathon where you've just got to keep going and keeping your legs going, and for 26 miles it's so that's what I do. But someone to jump to a marathon from, if someone wants to train, I've had a few friends that have asked, and it's just telling them how to train really, just gradually upping the mileage very, very slowly, but I can sing ultras more than I just think they're amazing. Yeah. And I know a couple of people that I've sort of told them about them, and they've had a go, and they've said the same. It's just so friendly, and and they're always smaller events as well, aren't they?
Yes.
Because not many people do them, and you usually make friends, and you usually end up in a bundle of people. You don't usually do them on your own, do you?
No.
So I think that's the fun of them. But marathons are I still love marathons, but I think they are, there's a lot more, I don't know how you put it really, it's just pushing constantly, isn't it? And I don't honestly think they're as friendly, because everyone's, even though you're with people, you're not chatting or anything, are you? Everyone's just...
Yeah, that's right. It's I completely agree with everything you've been saying. I think exactly the same. There's so much more enjoy an ultra because you can walk for a bit. You can give yourself a break without losing any significant time. Even when,
and it does give you that energy back.
It does, yeah.
And people say, well, how can you run again once you've walked? And you think, and how do you eat? And how do you manage to eat and run? And it's just, I suppose you get with your training, you get used to doing it, don't you?
Used to doing it. Because, again, it's part of the complexity. You have to train your stomach as well as your legs and everything else. But
I had a friend once that was training. She trained for Snowdon Marathon, and I ran it with her. And she was absolutely petrified of this race. And with her training, she got to about 80 miles, and she says, "Lisa, I can't do it anymore. It's too far." And and I says, "Why are you pushing yourself so much in your training?" "Well, you've got to run it. I've got to." And I said, "No, why do you have to run all on your training? Why don't you get to 10 miles, stop, have chocolate bar, whatever, have a sip, drink, don't need to." And she did, and she broke it up, and she found the training so much better.
Yes.
But people go out and they think, "I've got to run this," and it's not always the case. You just got to train your body.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to win it, you have to win
Oh,
it.
yeah. And if you're aiming for a time and all that,
Yes.
but when it's your first marathon.
Yeah.
And she absolutely loved every step when she did it. And her husband, I mean, he'd run marathons after marathons. He was so proud of her when she crossed that finish line. Yeah. And to this day, she's still got, and was it 2 years ago? And her profile pic is me and her on that marathon. So it's, yeah. So anyone can do it, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter who you are, you've just got to want to do it, haven't you? You've got to want to finish.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
But even on a marathon, you can walk.
Yeah, I mean, my thinking, any event that I look at, because there are things, let's say something like the Dragon's Back, I look at that and think, I'm not ready for that yet. No, it's not on this year, so that's all right, it's on next year. But, I wouldn't be ready for that. But the reason I decide I'm not ready for that is because I look at the cut-off time and think...
Most people do that, they look at the
can I make the cut-off time? Now, on let's say I'm doing this Wharfdale 3 Peaks thing, I know I can do it in the cut-off time. I look at the winning times and think, can I be anywhere near, I've probably maybe got a chance of being in the top 10 on that, possibly, if I have a really good day. And so I'll look at that end. So
that's your challenge to.
Yeah, because that's the thing for me. If I know I can definitely, the cut-off time's not a question, then I'll look at, well, what am I doing it for? What am I trying to achieve? But I really like that, the whole thing of having to look at the cut-off time and thinking, can I make it? Because that's doing the event safely. And that, I guess, part of that mentality is from mountaineering, in that when you're doing big mountain routes, you have guidebook times that says this is how long it should take you to get from here to the top of this mountain. And it's not about that time being a race. It's that rocks become loose during the day as ice melt.
Yeah.
And then
so it's safety
they become loose when they refreeze at night and the ice expands.
Right.
Because water's dripped in during the day and then the rocks fall. So there's a massive safety aspect if you're doing alpine routes and things to be achieving the guidebook times, because the guidebook will say you should start this route early in the morning, so you hit you're often trying to hit the summit at sunrise, because that's one of the safest ways of doing it. And so you need to be very aware, if you're not doing it in the guidebook times, you need to be setting off a bit earlier. And so I'm very used to kind of looking at
times.
At what's the guidance say, and if you're nowhere near the guidance, it's unsafe. And that's the way I kind of think about races as well. The cut-off times, partly they're there because the race director wants to go home eventually.
And marshals are going to get a bit fed up.
Yeah, but the marshals and everybody are there for your safety. So,
and the other thing, they've got to think of the marshal's safety as well.
The marshal's safety, exactly. So the cut-off times are important. I actually think some races should enforce them more stringently for that reason. But there's nothing at all wrong with being the person that comes in just under the cut-off. I don't see any problem with that at all if you're within the cut-off.
Well, even on the challenge, me and Ben said I'm not bothered if it's a second before, as long as I get under that cut-off.
And again, I mean, that my original plan for the spine was to be minutes under the cut-off. And then as I trained, I thought, actually, I can be hours under it. And actually, if I get even further under it, then I don't need to have a sleep. and then that takes another.
Well,
big
that's how we
chunk off.
worked out, because we were getting tired. I thought, is it worth carrying on, or this is what we were thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
But we ended up having an hour's kip and thinking recharge the batteries. And but
that, I should have done it. I would have finished faster. Strangely enough.
it's weird, isn't it? How it is. It's just all just one big.
Yeah.
It's just working it all out, isn't it? And what way to get to that finish.
And there's no perfect answers.
And a lot of people have these strategies before they set off, and I bet that they can just go out the window, can't they? It just depends on how
you did on that race.
Just see how you feel on the day and what occurs, isn't it?
Yeah.
And do what you think's best.
Yeah, the only part of my strategy that went out the window on the Oldham Way was I'd planned to take it steady and controlled, and then if I felt good in the last 5 to 10 miles, race it to the finish. But by the time I got there, I realised that, well, in fact, I realised this certainly by halfway through. Fiona knew the route so well. By running with her, I had so much benefit of not wasting time getting lost that I wasn't willing to finish ahead of her.
Right.
Because she saved me
Saved you,
20 minutes, half an hour by me. I didn't go
But
off
yeah,
and wait.
so basically you
so
worked as a team, didn't you?
Yeah, so I wouldn't finish ahead of her. And that's why I ended up with 5 of us crossing the line together.
Yeah, but that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Because she'll have saved your bacon in one bit. And
Yeah, but then we ended up, as the group that ended up running together, we all had kind of tough times and dropped to the back of the group, and you're just hanging on to the group and somebody else leads it. And I spent some time
but
leading
then
the group as
everyone
well.
takes a turn.
Especially on the last few hills, I was at the front all the time on the last few hills because I'd been kind of saving myself for that. And so I helped to pull the whole group through a bit faster through the last section. So it was good. But none of them had met before
Isn't it funny? And then you end up being best of friends at the end of it. It's just, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you went out and planned to do that as a group,
it won't work. What you set off, right, we're all setting off together and we'll see how it... No, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work, no.
No. And the friendships you make, it's just...
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right, shall we...
Yeah, that's fine.